The next time you're sitting in a theater, I want you to really take it all in. The sound of people settling in their seats, the seats themselves, the lights, the smell of the popcorn. Because chances are that in the future, you're going to be telling kids about this weird thing we used to do where we would go into this building with sometimes 100 other strangers to watch a movie. We're going to be explaining this as something nostalgic, something that used to exist. We already watched Blockbuster disappear. Now, try to explain Blockbuster to a kid. They understand the concept, but it's weird by today's standards that we used to go into a building, rent a DVD, come back home and watch it with the family. Sometimes that's what we did on Fridays. But Blockbuster, like I said, disappeared, and I think theaters are going in the same direction. And this deal with Netflix and Warner Brothers, it's going to speed things up. Netflix has really never cared for theaters. In fact, their business model is built on skipping the whole process. When they do put a movie out that has a theatrical release, it's very short and it's done only so they can qualify for awards. Now imagine that mindset controlling Warner Brothers, a studio that was built on theatrical culture, a studio behind DC, Harry Potter, Godzilla, Mad Max, all the films that theaters rely on to survive. The thing is, Netflix doesn't see movies as a communal experience. They don't. They see it as content, something that they can drop Thursday night and keep you from canceling your subscription. So with this merger, fewer films will get meaningful theatrical windows. Fewer mid-budget movies will get screens at all. Studios that used to support theatrical first directors will now push everything towards streaming because it's cheaper, faster, and easier to track with data. Just think about what that does long term, right? If blockbusters go straight to Netflix and mid-budget dramas and thrillers live exclusively on streaming, then what are the theaters supposed to show? How do they survive when their biggest competitor, the one consuming entire studios, doesn't even believe in the theatrical model? They don't. They're not going to. We're going to lose movies that were designed to be felt, not just watched while you're scrolling on your phone. And maybe a few boutique theaters survive. Maybe it becomes a cool vintage thing for the kids of the future, like vinyl and VHS. But that's not the same thing as a full, living, breathing, movie-going ecosystem. That's nostalgia, not an industry. So are we being dramatic with the Netflix and Warner Brothers deal is really the question here. A lot of people are reacting and overreacting. Here's my thoughts. As far as personal, I work on very independent, small movies and corporate stuff. Is this going to directly affect my pocket? Not in a way that I can see. I don't think this is coming down on me. It's coming down on a lot of other filmmakers and directors that work in the industry, but I wouldn't say that I'm in that industry, right? I'm in a industry, but not the version that is in Hollywood. So I'm strictly talking about theaters, which then does affect me because I am a big fan of going to the theater. I drag people to the theaters to watch movies as much as I can. I miss going to the theaters. Pre-COVID, I was in the theaters all the damn time. Then, theaters went down the drain. Now I get there when I can. Before I could even get there sometimes, because I'm not there on the release of every movie. Before I could even get there, the movie's already available in one of these streaming services. So it's like that quick. The CEO of Netflix put out a quote saying that their data shows that consumers, because that's what he sees people as, is just consumers, would rather watch movies at home. And that could be true. That could be the data that they have on their end. But I know there's other data that they can't account for because they're not counting the people going to the theaters or that would rather go to the theaters. They don't give a chance for movies to really grow and breathe and have a life cycle in the theater to know what the opposite is. You can say some people are overreacting. Like I said, the deal's not fully done yet, and there's some things that have to happen, and a lot of people that are saying, hold on, before this goes through, we need to really take a good look at what it's going to look like. This is going to affect a lot of the culture in Hollywood, and a lot of the way that studios, if there is any left, approach movie making. So, in that sense, no, it's not an overreaction. What I would say, my final point is support your theater as much as you can and start to buy physical copies of the movies that you love immediately. Start a little collection on the side and get what you like, because who knows? Who knows now what the landscape's going to be 10 years from now? We don't know. Hopefully, I could look back at this and say, man, I was wrong. But I don't think theaters are going to be around in the next couple of years. And I've been saying this way before this Netflix and Warner Brothers things happened. Theaters have been on the decline for a very long time. And like I said earlier, the Netflix deal with Warner Brothers could just speed that up a whole lot. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. And I can't believe you made it this far. Thank you for watching.